All right, welcome back to our third and final conversation for this morning. And in studios with us, as we promised, we have none other than Keith Jones. He's a personal trainer.
Yes.
But he's also an inspirational young man from the city of Belmopan. He'll tell you that about his origins, which is not necessarily Belmopan, where he lives right now, but he has what he entitles and what has been entitled an unexpected, exceptional life. And when we get into the story, you'll understand why it's labeled this way. But first of all, we just want to say good morning to you.
Good morning, Keith. Bright.
Good morning.
And lovely colors. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. Stands out when you give like a when you show the whole shot of the studio, you kind of see like his shirt just blazing through. I love it.
How are you doing this morning, sir?
Doing great, doing great.
Doing great as usual.
Yes.
Now, let's talk a bit about why we have you here this morning. Recently, you released a documentary about your life and your story. Now, you're young. You're 20 years old.
Yeah.
One would ask, why not save the documentary until you're 40, 50 years old? Because that's usually when people do documentaries about their life.
Yeah.
But you're here and you did this documentary because so much has happened as you've put it out in the documentary over the first 2 decades of your life that you felt the need to tell your story.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, growing up, I could just have brief information. Just from my past growing up, well, I come from football Pan, living in Hattieville. It's an unexceptional story because of how it's just where I came from to what I achieved at the age of 20 years old. I feel like it will inspire a lot of people, even people that come from the similar or who are in the similar situation.
All right.
So, the way what prompted you to do a documentary, though? So, I mean, I understand why you're putting it out, but why in this format? Why not a book? Why not, a long Facebook post like what most people do?
Listen, if
What,
I know...
no, but I want to know,
I
like,
know that
what
book
prompt,
become.
what prompt the documentary?
The film.
Yeah.
Well, third generation people don't like to read. They prefer to watch a show.
Yeah.
And it's more so to watch a show, you can sit back and relax and us to inspire. I believe. Well, right now it's about like over 600 views.
Wow.
In like a week. But I believe for the age range, I'm looking like for the younger people or stuff like that to watch it. They prefer to watch the film and then to have more like a to be interactive with it
Than to read a book.
than to read it.
So let's dive a bit into your story. Let's talk a bit about your upbringing and some of the challenges you had there.
So from the age of 6 or 7 years old, well, I used to live in the old village in the village called Hattieville in the rural. But just growing up, I come from a separated family home where all of my siblings and biological siblings, they went to different homes and different gardens to look after them. But I was the unlucky one who, I was still with my mom, and then, suddenly she went away and she left me. So at the age of 6, I had to fend for myself. I had to find my food. That's before my aunt from Belmopan adopted me and took me to Belmopan. So for like 2 to 3 weeks, I had to find my own food to eat and really survive on my own.
At what age?
At the age of 6.
At the age of 6.
Yeah.
When you say your mom left you, tell us a bit about that. What happened there?
Well, it transported back from the hurricane. I think it was Hurricane Richard. All of us used to live in 8 of us, including my mother and father, used to live in a 3-bedroom house, in a wooden house. But the hurricane broke down the house, which was in my grandmother's yard. After that, that was when my parents, they applied for the house they were giving out, right? And so that was when the family started to separate. So they went to different people. And then I stayed with my mother. She went to Belize, still live in a different areas in Belize here, so I was following her. I got burned. I got a second-degree burn here in Belize. The accident happened, so we went
In
back
your
to
house?
Hattieville.
An accident happened at your home?
No, that in Belize.
At your home in
That was
Belize
on,
City?
yeah, on Kelly Street. So that made us went back to, me and my mother went back to Hattieville, and then like a couple of days later, then my mom came back to Belize City, but she didn't bring me back, so she left me at Hattieville in the house by myself.
She left you in the house by yourself?
I don't want to give away too much because I want that people watch your documentary. So I want to ask about what is it that you think people could learn about this? What do you want people to be inspired about?
There are a couple things. The first one is no matter your current situation you're in, that doesn't dictate your future. Like I always say, like the story of our life currently up to today, we didn't write it, but we dictate how the story will end, right? The second thing is doesn't matter your age, what all you could achieve for your age. It's not too early, it's not too late.
When you say achieve, it's because you are now, you know, if you don't know Keith, he's not a personal trainer, right? At the Educo gym.
Yeah.
And for those of you that are clients of Keith, I don't know how he rolls. He's, you know, very committed. I hear stories about you that you're, you know, crunch time, you have to do your work. You're very dedicated and motivated to your job and then to your clients. So how did you get from being homeless in Hattieville
at 6 years old?
At 6 years old, so now you have your personal training career.
Well, the excitement after high school, I am a person, I'm very passionate about making a difference in the community and helping others and inspiring others. Like the Educo gym, we focus more on a holistic approach to health and fitness. So it's changing the client's entire life. You know, Paul could tell you about it. So that love to want to inspire and motivate others and help them, even with me working with the B&E Trust as well, you know, that helping with the communities and people by themselves. So sorry, I'm trying to
I was asking about how you went from where you started to where you are now.
And let me just add perhaps to guide the question a bit more, because I've seen the documentary, April, and we're not going to give away everything.
No, people have
but
to watch it.
As I understand it, you moved to Belmopan because you were adopted by your aunt. But when you started Educo Gym, you actually started as a janitor. Tell us a bit about that story and your experience there.
So I was a janitor from the fourth farm. I got the job to clean and make extra money so I could have money for school. From then, I was doing it, you know, behind the scene on the low. After that, for summer, I was still doing it. Somewhere in the documentary, I mentioned that, you know, my friend wanted to hang out, play basketball, you know. But I told him that I was going to the gym. I was a trainer from then, but no one didn't know I was a janitor.
You're not the trainer.
I was not the trainer.
I see what he did there.
So, you know what, just being, you know, cleaning and looking around, you know, seeing the clients, they're going happy, reading stuff. And it really, like, I don't know, it's like something just come up, like excitement to want to be a trainer. And then it was, I get, my aunt, she told me, you know, I told her how I felt, and then she was like, you know, why don't you go and ask your boss, you know, to volunteer for a month and give you a try. And at night, you know, I was very nervous. I was cleaning, I was there with my mop. I suddenly creep up to the office and I ask him, you know, you have a second I could talk to you? Sit there, ask him, you know, I'll be a trainer, you know, but like I mentioned, you know, a skinny kid, I was very, very skinny, 129 pounds. Well, I wasn't care how I look.
You just want to do
the
this.
excitement and the love for it. So he gave me the opportunity. 2 weeks in, the opportunity to come to officially become a trainer. You know, to start the training and the process and everything. So that was how it happened.
But I'm still here trying to figure, because I feel like I still have so much more to do in my life, and I don't think that I need a documentary just yet. So Keith, why do people need to watch your documentary?
Like I mentioned, to inspire. Like last week Friday, I did a talk at the New Beginnings Youth Development Center.
Okay. So
and when I did that, all of the kids there, they watched it, and then they could relate, and they had a lot of questions. Like, for example, how I still found hope coming from that situation. They went to how I forgive my parents.
Yeah.
Because those things stuck with you, and then how I kept the vision, and how I kept the discipline, and how, you know, you just kept the focus of hoping and knowing that like a brighter future is there, that this direction you're in right now won't affect your entire life, and you'll be like at the bottom of everyone. So I think that.
Let's talk about the way you filmed your documentary. So you had to interview people from your past.
Yeah.
You had to talk to some people that like you clearly said some emotions stayed with you.
Yeah.
So were you how were you feeling when you had to direct this film, and you realize I have to see people that I probably haven't seen since childhood?
Doing the film, that went for like a year.
Wow.
It took a year, because they did 2 drafts and the editing. But just going back to the people, we even had like a little guy who was like the young kid. But it's just going back to all those moments in the past. They brought up some emotions, for my grandmother. Went back to my aunt in Hattieville, who called my aunt in Bawapan and told me that I was alone in the house. So, and then just watch even the shirt that the little guy was wearing, just to see that the shirt he was wearing was like that was my gold shirt, my church shirt, my everything shirt, my one best. And I still have that shirt in my closet at my home right now where I live. So that's just to remember.
But yes, but I want to, you were there for every step of the way for this documentary, right? You had to direct, you had to write, and you had to produce it.
Yeah.
When you had to go back and see your past traumas, right? What was the response like from your family and the people that you initially haven't spoken to in so long?
They're inspired. They're inspired. I still have like I'm not sure if I'm answering correct, but I still like the love from my biological siblings. We will still hold that bond with my grandmother. All of us still tell us to go back, and then they know they are watching me, and they look it up to me. Even like my little brother Joshua, he live with me right now. He was with my grandmother,
Okay.
and then he live with me right now, and then just I don't know.
Yeah,
It's okay.
because
They were inspired. They showed the love, and they were like all of them were excited to be a part of it. Even my mentors from Bawapan, Miss Tisby and my boss, all of them they're excited to be a part of the film.
Yeah, because you as a part of the impact your aunt had on you, correct? And this is what I'm seeing from the documentary. You also extended that to your little brother.
Yeah.
So when you went from living homeless at 6 years old to being able to rent your own place in Belmopan at 17.
Yeah.
And when you I'm quoting the documentary, when you finally got your place in Belmopan, you decided, I want my brother now to come and live with me. What was your brother's situation?
Yeah.
And why did you reach out to him?
Yeah, well, because he was 16. He was living with my grandmother in Hattieville, and so I told him he could come and live with me, because the age of my grandmother, and he was going through that stage where so I didn't want him to go through that. And also the biggest thing was me going to Bawapan, even how it changed my mindset. I know he used to go to Bawapan for summer and stuff like that. So the effect that it have is that when he go to Bawapan, his mindset expand, it changes. He want great things. So I told him, he could come over, and as Joshua come over, he was all amazed. The same thing. Still call opportunity right now. He's working for special effects for 2.5 years now, and he's doing really great.
I wanted to ask, so where can people find your documentary?
So it's on YouTube. It's open for everyone. Yeah. The link is on my bio. And, the link is on Facebook. I shared it. It's on my newsfeed on Facebook, and it's also on my bio on Instagram as well.
What now? So you're 20 years old with a documentary released the first 2 decades of your life. What is left to be told about your future? What do you think the future holds in terms of what the next 10 or 20 years will look like for you? I know you're a man of vision. So tell me about that. What will the documentary look like when you're 40 years old?
40 years old.
Wow, you put that way there.
It's in Dubai. So what I know from now, what 40 years old, I don't know, still looking young, like I'm 15.
Yeah,
But,
definitely that one.
I'll stay with my body. I also want to become one of the manager for the Duca Gym. We know we're going to open up one in Belize today, so I want to become one of the director managers for that. I want to continue being involved in making a difference in the country and in the community. Whatever the opportunities and stuff that come up, I want to be a part. I could see myself, you know, I say like just doing like, I don't know, like right now doing tax, you know, having my own house. I want a family, but not rushing for that. That's the last thing on the list.
He's still 20, but you see the documentary ages you a little bit. Because when you bring out a documentary, they're like, all right, I think I've accomplished all of these things. I'm already in a stage of my life of some level of maturity, which you are, right? So I guess what Paul is asking is, what can we expect from you coming now, right? You don't do a documentary. How you on top off a documentary now?
By age. I think we top it off from now to, I'm 20 years old, up to about 10 years from now. A surprise will be there.
Yeah, I agree.
You don't want to tell with that one.
No, well.
A book will come out.
Well,
a memoir will come out.
like I said, I know Keith to be a man of vision. So to ask him about 10 years from now is not far-fetched, because I'm sure it's on his vision board somewhere.
Next year.
Right? That Lamborghini.
He didn't watch me like, oh no, stop giving me the ideas on TV.
It is not. It is. And I got the I'll say like the mindset and the vision even from other influencers. You know, people who I want to be like. I ask advice. A lot of people who even went to like true situations. I asked them, you know, for advice. Like people say, how I wake up at 4 every day, being so young, you know, having a discipline, you know, prepare breakfast, you know, prepare day, and then keep the positive mindset. So all of those things is what I love, even to share back to others as well. So even like that's why I do the documentary, so I could look back now and see where I came from, and even for others to inspire them and
to continue motivating yourself.
So
and even myself.
You've been pushed out of your comfort zone a bit. Definitely. In terms of the documentary and making yourself public, and now I understand you're getting several speaking engagements, and that as well is out of your comfort zone. Speak to the experience, why that's out of your comfort zone and how you've been dealing with that.
If I could look back like 10 years from now, I will never even being on TV, on camera, being on stage, talking to people. So it's out of my comfort zone. But what I feel is like when I did the first after the documentary, well, I did a couple of talks. Well, even went to the youth hostel, last week Friday, for example. Doing that, it felt like I told my friends and my family that I felt like excitement.
Yeah,
you
rush.
know, like something just took over me that you know that felt joy, and even seeing the joy on the kids' their face that, you know, like someone who is in the same who went through the same situation they're in, are now, you know, they have hope and something great is happening in their life. So it felt good.
You know what, Keith? I think that we're going to. It's not going to be 10 years that we assist something from.
No.
It's definitely gonna be by December or next week. But you know, we want to thank you for sharing your story with us. That's not easy for somebody to put themselves out so openly into the world. So I do commend you, and I hope that whatever inspiration you want to give out to the world, it happens, and we expect greater things.
Definitely.
Right?
Even the love from it. Sorry, just to mention, like when it released last week Monday, I've been getting a lot of love, a lot of good compliment. People are like, you know, thank you. They're really emotional. And they like I mentioned,
because there's not conversations that people want to have, and for you to just say, okay, you know what, I'm going to do this documentary and put it out into the world. It's people see mirrors of themselves right from it. So it is something that is necessary to open up more dialogue about these situations, and perhaps you'll be doing more talks about, you know, other social issues in terms of poverty.
Definitely.
Right? So we will see you again.
When I first heard that you released the documentary, I was in no way, shape, or form surprised, because those who know you know that you maintain a positive mindset, know that you seek to inspire others to do good and to be their best selves. And that comes from a place of within, and it's contradictory your persona in life to your experiences, the difficulties you've been through. So right here on this platform, we'd just like to say we're proud of you. You're a young man who's sought to direct his life in a positive way in the midst of young men across our nation who are doing contrary and doing something different than directing their lives in a positive way. And so we do hope that your story, your life can inspire young men across the nation to, like you say, gain hope that there is still a future for them. So Keith, my brother, thank you so much for bringing out this documentary and for telling us your story right here on set.
Thanks. We know that we will see you again next week. I'd say I'm calling it that it's next week. But thank you, Keith, so much for being here.
Thanks.
And with that, we're going to take our final break and we'll be back for wrap-ups. So stay tuned. It's live on Channel 5.